All right, you have the Google Pixel 7 and you want it to last forever, or at least as long as possible. What are some things that you can do immediately to help your phone last way longer? All right, the very first one and the easiest one is just have a case. So many people drop their phones, smash the glass. If it's got a little bit of protection, it can help protect the internal components. Some of the small electronics are very susceptible to damage with a big drop. So if you have a case on it, not only will you protect your glass, but you'll protect the internal working components of your device. So if you don't have a case, get one right now. All right, moving on. All right, the very next thing you can do is that when you are done charging, as soon as you hit your percentage that you need to be at, unplug the charger. That is the main cause. Leaving the charger plugged in is what makes batteries do this. It's not the only thing. Sometimes there's a manufacturing defect. There's a lot of reasons. But one reason that makes your battery get puffy and die is leaving it plugged in. So unplug your phone after it's been charged. All right, let's move on to the next one. The very next thing you can do, and the easiest thing you can do, that not only helps you save battery every day between charges, but will then extend the life of your battery, is to turn on dark mode. Let me show you how to turn on dark mode on the Pixel 7. So we're going to jump into settings, go this way, and it's underneath. The easiest one is display. You just touch display, and then inside display right here, dark theme. Turn it on, and there you go. Now what's cool is that all the pixels now that are black are actually not receiving any electricity. So they are truly dark, and that will make each pixel last longer. It'll make your battery last longer, your screen last longer, and maybe your Google Pixel 7 will last forever. All right, let's move on. All right, let's go back into battery, and let's go over everything that we can do inside the battery. Settings, let's go scroll down to battery, and to make sure the things that we are familiar with. So you can turn your battery saver on. You can check your battery health. A couple of things you have to do is you have to you have to sign into your Google account. I'm not signed in here, but let's go ahead and let's touch battery saver and see what happens. So you have a couple options here. Standard battery saver limits visual effects and background activity, turns on dark theme if not already on. And then you've got extreme battery saver, includes all changes listed above, also pauses non-essential apps. So, and then this one right here called adaptive battery. Adaptive battery learns your phone usage to continuously optimize how apps use the battery to extend battery life, but it may reduce performance and delay some notifications. It depends on what you need, where you can turn on some of these, and depending on, if you don't really use your phone that much, you just use it for call and text and some photos, this might be the choice for you, the extreme battery saver. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, this one surprised me because it didn't realize how many radios are on inside. So you're familiar that you turn on your internet, and you're familiar that you turn on your Bluetooth, but there's more radios. So there's a possibility. Not everyone uses Bluetooth. So let's touch here. Let's go to right here. We're going to go to connected devices, but now we're going to go to connection preferences, and you're going to be shocked. So let's say that you don't use Bluetooth for speakers or whatever. You could just turn it off. Okay. Now the next one, NFC, is like for near field communications. So if you don't ever make phones or payments like by tapping your phone, again, we can turn this one off. This next one shocked me. Printers. So by default, it's always looking for a printer to print. So if you don't print with your phone, we turn that one off. That one makes me laugh. All right, and there's a few more in here that, depending on your usage, do you connect to a Chromebook? Do you use it in your car? Quick Share. Let's see if Quick Share has any radios on. Not right now. All right, so it's worth going through here and turning off all the radios that you don't use to see it. Not only will it extend your battery life, but it'll extend your life. Maybe your 7 will last forever. All right, let's move on. All right, an easy one that people forget is making sure that the software is all the way updated. So we can go into settings, and we're going to go here to system, and you want to go to your software update and just see if you've got if your stuff is up to date. So you can see here, I've just updated mine. Today's June 5th. Or no, today's July. So this one was updated. We'll go ahead and check for updates, but we're up to date all the way up to Android 16. It just sometimes helps your phone run a little bit better if you have all of the updated software for your phone. All right, let's move on. All right, another one that was shocking to me is something called the refresh rate. The refresh rate is measured in hertz, and it's how many times the screen refreshes on your phone. So you can find that inside. Let's go to settings. It's also in display. Excuse me. Go to display. I think it's all the way to the bottom here. Yeah, here it is. Smooth display. Automatic. Let's touch it and see if it gives us more. Oh, it just gives us on and off. Doesn't give us explanation. Automatically raises the refresh rate up to 90 hertz for some content, and this increases battery usage. By default, I think it was on. Let's turn it off. So unless you need high performance, if you use your phone for gaming, yeah, you could totally understand that. But if you don't use your phone for gaming, you don't need it for high performance video, you just come in here and turn that off, and it will always be on 60 hertz. That is actually one of the bigger, your phone uses a lot of energy on the refresh rate. So the phone uses the most on the brightness. So dark mode is going to save a ton of battery. One of the next ones is the refresh rate. So if you don't need it on a high refresh rate, that'll save you the next amount of battery. And then actually the one that we just went over with the radios, turning all those radios off, is going to save a tremendous amount of battery. All right, let's move on. So before we go to the next one, I want to show you something I want you to pay attention to. We're going to turn off the animations. The animations are just this. Do you see how this, when I open up a new app, it animates open, and then when I close it, it animates closed. So not only will your phone feel a degree snappier, a degree faster, but it'll save a little bit of battery. So let's go into that. It's going to be inside settings. So we'll go to settings this way this time, and we'll go to accessibility, which is all the way at the bottom here. And then it's going to be right here, color and motion. And right here, easy, remove animation. So we touch that. And now watch what happens. Let's see how much of that animation is. So now it just blinks off. So if we bring up the dialer, it should just blink on, close the dialer, pretty much blinks off. So you can try that one too. And if you don't like how your phone runs, let's jump back in and show you how to turn it back on. Settings this way. And then remember, it's inside accessibility. So go to the bottom, accessibility, look for color and motion. And then you can turn that, toggle it so that it is off, so the removal is off. So remember, it's kind of opposite, and it should just say turn on animations, turn off animations. But here we go. Now they're back on, and when we turn it, see now it has a little bit of an animation. All right, let's move on. Another big one that people should do all the time is just check your storage. If you start taking a ton of pictures, and if you start to have a lot of videos, you might want to clear out the extra ones or the old ones, or if you've got your phone backed up to your Google account, and all those videos get pushed over to your Google account, then you can remove them off your phone. So let's go to storage. We'll go to storage here, and you just press the free up space, and depending, so I need to I'll go ahead and allow. We can go and find out all the things that we can remove. We can remove downloads, images, audios, videos, documents, apps that we don't use. And let me see where trash is. I don't see, let me look. All right, trash is here underneath this 3-bar panel here. You can go to the trash and make sure that you empty your trash out. You'll see files, you move to trash here. Trash is permanently deleted after 30 days. So you could do it, you can be proactive, you can do it once a week. Again, it depends on how much you use your phone, and delete old files, old documents, old photos, that kind of stuff. All right, let's move on. All right, I think that'll do it. So the most important ones to me are, if you don't have a case, get a case. The next most important one is unplug your charger often and actually set your battery to the battery saving. And there is a setting. Did we go over the setting? All right, almost missed this one. We're going to go back into battery. We're going to touch battery health, and we're going to go to charging optimization. Here's the one. We can limit the battery charging to 80%. What I've read and what I understand, this is one of the best ways to keep your battery, number one, from doing this. It will never max charge out, and the chemistry that happens to make that battery bloat, is that chance is reduced to almost zero. and your phone will potentially last forever. All right, that is about it. So I hope I've helped you. If I helped you, please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. And if you know other people who use the Google Pixel 7, or some of the older ones, send them this video so they can learn how to make their Google Pixel last forever. Thanks for watching.